What's our intro?
You are welcome to Telly Talk, where we talk about what's on this heli. And by
Hey,
that
it's
we mean
my turn to
I'm
do
telling
the
you what our intro is,
intro.
you asshole.
Okay, I got this. Listen, I'm recovering.
Do you want me to do the intro?
No, I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll do it. No, now it's awkward. Now I can't do it. Can you look away?
I'm not looking at you.
Close your
okay,
eyes.
they're closed.
Turn around.
Okay.
Don't look at me.
I'm not okay.
You're making me nervous.
What?
Shh, don't look at me. Welcome to Telly Talk, where we talk about what's on the telly, and by that I mean we talk about what's on our minds, because we're Telly. I'm Soul, and I'm recovering from a secret illness that you don't get to know about.
What? Oh yeah, you do have the illness. I am the illness.
No, wait a minute. Wait a minute. That doesn't sound right.
I'm Tyler.
You're stuffed?
What?
I'm also what?
I'm Tyler. And I just had a grilled cheese. It was the highlight of my week.
I wish I had a grilled cheese. Anyways, we're talking about Rango, the best movie in the entire world, and I'm actually really disappointed that we didn't put it on our top 15 subjective movie list.
I was kind of thinking this when I was watching it. We should do it.
It would definitely be up there.
I think next year we should do it again, like from scratch, like, and just see how, like, if we come up with a list that's similar or different from our old list, you know?
This one's definitely top 5 for sure, like number 5.
Quite a good movie.
At least, like 5 or 6 for sure. So Rango.
Okay, something about that, the way you said that was so funny to me. Like I'm gonna be exaggerating here, but you're like top 3 for sure. Like at least 5 or 6. You know, like definitely 7, 8, 9. Like you know, maybe even top 15. Just something about that is hilarious.
Well, I said top 5, and I was like, yeah, top 5, 5 or 6.
Yeah, I was totally exaggerating, but the way you said it just cracked me up.
Yeah, top 5, 6, maybe 7. You know, 10 would be great for Rango. 15 maybe. So Rango came out in 2011, and this was like right when peak animation movies were coming out. And honestly, I'd say this is...
Was this like stop motion animation? Or...
No, it was just like regular
because it was so like real
motion.
looking.
I know, right?
Like it was like the Polar Express.
Yeah, okay, so this film is one of my favorites because they shot it practically. They shot it in live action. Like all the actors.
Like the Polar Express.
No. They didn't use mocap.
Oh.
They literally shot the scenes on a set.
Okay.
But they didn't do like super dressed up sets. They were wearing like Party City costumes, and they had like boxes for buildings and shit. But they shot it practically.
And then how that turned
and
into
used that for like emotions and then for audio. And it was just like for like sound and performance enhancement. And honestly, I say everyone should do it. They do it for Fantastic Mr. Fox as well.
Really?
Where they shoot it. I believe they shot it in like a house and like in a field and stuff. And they just got that realness, and that's why those movies are so good, because they shot them practically,
Yeah,
but then animated him.
It's
over
that movie's like the same style as this one, where like it just like feels so real, even though it's animated, that it confuses me.
Yeah. So tip, if you want to make a good animated movie, shoot it practically, and then just animate over that.
Okay.
But don't animate the actions, animate the emotions.
Because most of the movie looks so real. they still did the thing where like they give girl characters wide eyes, but there's only like one girl character, so her eyes are like much bigger than like every other character's because that's how women get animated, and her eyes are like so animated looking when everything else looks so real, and it freaks me out.
Beans.
That's what I have to say about Beans.
Rango.
I love Beans, but like her eyes are just very animated looking when everything else is very real looking, and I didn't like it.
I think they made her like that for her freezes. What animal is she? Just a lizard?
Oh, I actually had to look it up. I forgot. An iguana.
That is not an iguana.
That's what I thought.
Not even close to an iguana. I can't wait till we get to the favorite character moment, because I got a couple, and you're gonna be ashamed with me on at least one of them.
What did you do?
Nothing. Rango was great because they shot it practically. And essentially, do you want to go a little summary of Rango?
So there's this lizard, a gecko. Is he a gecko?
He's a chameleon.
He's a chameleon, yeah, because he changes. Yeah, you're right. Oh, him being a chameleon is so metaphorical because he's an actor and he like changes to blend in to this new environment. Wow, the metaphors. It's symbolic. The curtains are blue. There's this chameleon and he's a nice little house pet and he doesn't have a name. I don't like. Do we ever find out what his original name was? I don't think so.
No.
Kind of goofy, but he's really into theater and he's kind of lonely and just does plays with his tank objects, and then he falls out of the tank into the desert and he goes to a town called Dirt and he convinces them that he's like this badass outlaw from the Wild West, and
He's not.
But then he accidentally kills like a predator animal. It was like a hawk, and then that looks really fucking badass. And the town doesn't have any water,
luck.
so the mayor makes him their sheriff, and he's like, "I'm gonna go save this town's water. I need a posse." And they go and they try and find the water, but then a rattlesnake comes and like runs him out of town because he's a fraud. But then he's like realizes that the hero he needs to be is inside of him all along, and he goes back and he saves the town and the girl who's named Beans and is a little weird, but I like her. And the mayor.
She's not weird.
The mayor.
She's just her.
The mayor is the bad guy all along, and he's been restricting the town's water so he could buy the land from everyone, so he could turn their old Wild West town into like a golf course.
Which is weird, because why do they need a golf course?
I don't fucking know. And then this rattlesnake then like kills the mayor because the mayor was gonna kill the rattlesnake, but Rango tricked him, and then they all live happily ever after.
Yeah.
I think this was the best Western movie ever made.
Yeah, truly. I think this is like the best kid-friendly Western to ever exist. I think it's the best. Honestly, I'm gonna say this a million times. This is the best Western to ever exist. There's not one that could top it, and I've seen a couple of Westerns.
Yeah, you've seen more Westerns than me. Okay, I feel like the only Western that I've seen that was like a traditional normal Western was like that first one we watched during like old movie months, because every other Western I've seen has been like based on old Westerns, but it wasn't actually an old Western. It was just like inspired by old Westerns. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I've only ever watched like 5 Westerns, and I think 2 of them were original.
But this movie's really, really great. I will say the first time, so I'd never seen it before, but I know everyone our age grew up on it, and I don't know why I never saw it, but I never had. And you showed it to me like a year or 2 ago when I visited you, and I liked it both times, but last time for some reason the scene where they were trapped like in the bank vault and it filled up with water and then they had to like break out seemed to be much more dramatic and long last time. Like last time that felt like such a climax of the movie for me, but this time it was just like, oh, he has a plan. It didn't last very long. He got out, and it was fine. Like, it was so much less of a key point of the movie for me this time, but it was, like, all I remembered from it last time.
Honestly, I feel like that was my reaction the first time watching it, too. And then it was like a 5-second scene, and then they were out, and I was like, oh, interesting.
It feels like such a classic scene.
Yeah, I get that. Let's talk about the big character development that Rango goes through throughout the movie. So in the beginning, you see him in his tank, and he's like a theater actor. He's not a movie actor. He's like a theater actor, and he's like, we never know his original name, but he's just chilling in his fucking tank. And there's like a little bit of a meta line in there where it's like, I know what we need. We need a crazy dramatic moment that just turns everything around. And then the car crashes, and then he falls out of the car, and he's like, oh, I'm in the road now. And so that was really funny. And then he meets that armadillo who's just ran over and like cut in half. And he's like, I need to get on the other side of the road. And this, okay, I never understood the why does the chicken cross the road joke. But apparently, like, the true answer to that joke is the chicken dies and it goes to heaven.
Yeah.
And so that's the symbolism of the road, that the road is the line to go to heaven. So the armadillo was trying to cross the road to go to heaven, and this armadillo was ran over and cut in half. And he was like, I gotta get over to the other side of the road, and Rango helped him to get over the side of the road, and then he was fine. He was completely fine.
I didn't know how he was fine. Are armadillos just built like that?
No, he was dead.
What?
He died.
But we saw. Oh!
He died.
I didn't know how he was fine, but it's because he died.
He died, and so he like came back over and was like, "Hey, you gotta go help you gotta go find your people." And he's like, "Yes, I gotta go find my people." And so he goes through the desert, and he has these like whack ass hallucinations of like the cactus turning into rattlesnake, like the little tail thingies, and he hallucinates his giant, his little fish friend, but it's like huge, and then the fish just goes, "Where are your friends now, amigo?" And that was the voice of the armadillo, because the armadillo was like, "Where are your friends now? Because you're stranded in the middle of fucking nowhere." So he's like, "I gotta find my people." And I don't remember how he ends up in a pipe, but he ends up in a pipe full of water, and he like falls out of the pipe of water, and then he ends up in the front of the town of dirt. He meets Beans, who like sticks a gun up to him.
I love Beans.
And is like, "Who are you?" And then he goes up to the rest of the town, and this little girl, I don't know what animal she is.
The child is my favorite character.
She's like a little mouse guy, and she's all sassy and shit. And she's like, "You're no stranger here lasts long. No sheriff here lasts long." And so Rango goes into the bar, the saloon, and is like, "I'll take some water, please." And everyone laughs at him because there's no fucking water in the desert. Water's like money there. And they're like, "All we got is cactus juice." And cactus juice is essentially just fucking alcohol. And they start, just like calling out this new guy, this chameleon, because he's like, "Oh, he's a new guy from wherever. Like, who is this guy?" And in that moment, he creates his character Rango. Didn't he see Rango on like the name on like a thing or something?
He did, but I missed it. Like, I know that it came from somewhere, but I think I blinked. I don't know.
He saw it on like a canister or something, and he's like, "I'm Rango, and I'm a cowboy, and I'm from the west, the west." And then they're like, "Did you kill these people?" And he's like, yeah, with one bullet." And he's like, "You killed 7 people with one bullet?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, 1 bullet." And so they challenge him to kill the hawk that's like flying around their town, to kill the hawk with 1 bullet. And so they put him out there, and everyone hides. And he ends up getting a chase with the hawk, and then killing him by like pure luck. And he only uses 1 bullet, and so everyone thinks he's like a amazing genius, even though he destroyed like half the town. And so they make him sheriff. And then the water goes missing. And they're like, oh my god, the water went missing. And so they go to investigate. And Rango's like, his ego's like through the fucking roof right now. He's not listening to anyone or anything that anyone has to say. He's just like playing out his movie star era. And so when he actually has to do the job, he's like, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do. But he actually does a good job. He actually finds out like where the water was, and he finds out where the water tank was, and they go to war with this like these mole people. But then they all find out that there was no water in the container, and the mole people were like, yeah, it was empty when we found it. And they were like, fuck, sorry. And so they go back to town and they're like, well, where's the water? And so they banish Rango. I guess Rango just leaves because he's a bad sheriff. And he goes wanders around. He crosses the road to death.
So he was gonna go kill himself.
No. He just has like an ego death. He walks across the road and he meets his like armadillo friend, and they have a chat, and then you just see Clint Eastwood with a golf cart.
Is that who that
and
was?
like,
I don't know who the fuck that was or why he had a golf cart.
Yeah. It's Clint Eastwood. I don't know why there's a golf cart. I think it alludes to the golf course. But Clint Eastwood's there, and he's just like, you just gotta not think about yourself. It's not about you, it's about them. Like, you gotta help them. It doesn't matter who you are. It's just like, you just gotta be you, and you gotta help them. And he's like, yes. And so he goes through this like ego death, and then rebirths as like this, as himself, but like just wanting to help the people. And so he goes back and is like, I'm here to help. And then there's the rattlesnake there, and the rattlesnake in the mayor, or no, he goes and finds the golf course, because on the other side of the road he finds the golf course in the city, and the armadillo is like, this is it, this is the other side. And he realizes that the golf course uses sprinklers and uses like so much water that's why there's no water in the desert. Like, that's his thoughts. And then he sees this pipe that says like emergency shutoff or whatever, and so he thinks that the mayor like shut off the water or something. And so he goes back, the rattlesnake's there, Rattlesnake Jake, and he like fights Rattlesnake Jake, kills him. The mayor dies. He falls in love with Beans, happily ever after. And he becomes like a good sheriff.
The snake is the one who kills the mayor.
Yes. And they get the water back, and the water pipe, there's like a water pipe that bursts.
And that's
something.
how he beats the snake, and the snake like respects him.
Yeah, and then their little town has like, it's like a water utopia now. It's a little oasis. Isn't that a good movie?
It's like genuinely an amazing movie. I like when they just randomly put on a fake production play to like get the bad guys, because that was very Hamlet. Like you know in Hamlet they just randomly have a play within the play. That's what it felt like for me.
I've never read Hamlet.
No, you should. It's quite good. It's really funny. It's Shakespeare's longest play, but I listened to the audiobook in 3 hours. Because Shakespeare should be listened to, not read. Reading Shakespeare's stupid. And it's...
I feel like that's in a lot of movies where people put on, especially in war movies, where they put on plays, and that's like their distraction to escape from their prison.
Mm-hmm.
That's in like every fucking prison movie, breakout movie, war movie.
Hamlet, man. It's groundbreaking.
I also really like the design of all the characters, because they're ugly. Like, all the characters are ugly. And like, that's the first time that animation has ever made characters, especially animal characters, ugly. Because all animal characters, you're like, oh, you want to be cute and cuddly, but these are dry,
They're deserty. I
crusty.
like when he first got in the desert and like his whole body like cracked and fell off like multiple times.
Yeah, there's like they're all dry, crusty. They're all like injured and like gangly, and their teeth are fucked up and they're gross looking. I'm like, yes, like that's amazing. It's so beautiful. And I also love the little mariachi band that just like follows them around, and that just like happens to be in the background every time. Also, Hans Zimmer, um, wrote the music for this. Love that guy. He's my favorite composer. I also thought it was interesting that they just had machine guns. Because when you think of a western, you're like, okay, pistols. And that's it. But they were on bats with machine guns, like they were fucking in fighter jets. And I thought that was insane. Also, peak character design. Rattlesnake Jake, honestly the best fucking animal villain I've ever seen in my entire life, because he has his pistol is the rattle of his tail. Like he turned the rattle on his tail into a pistol. And that's how he shoots. And also, if you look at his face, he has like a little tiny pencil mustache, which is so amazing. And I love him so much.
Does he really? I didn't notice that.
Yes. It's really small, but it's so
But yeah,
good.
I love that his tail's a gun.
I wrote down Rattlesnake Jake as a hear me out.
Okay, you're not wrong. I'm gonna save that if I ever need to hear me out.
What did the box mean? Because they drew the box twice.
It seemed like it was saying that like he is the main character of his story. Like he
Interesting.
is the guy.
He's the guy. Also, this was directed by
The guy.
the guy who directed
You actually
Pirates of
said
the
the
Caribbean.
guy. Ooh, that's what we're watching next.
That's our next month theme, Pirates of the Caribbean. So that'll be exciting. Do you have anything else to say?
It was quite funny for a kids movie. Like it.
It was funny for a kids movie. Aren't kids movies supposed to be
No,
funny?
I like when kids movies have like adult humor in them.
All kids movies have adult humor in them.
And this one was good, okay? I agree with you that I liked that the characters weren't cute. Like it added to like the desert vibe and the realism. It was such a western. This is one of my favorite movies, actually.
It's definitely up
It's
there.
up there. You're so right. It's in the top 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, you know.
Definitely number 5 or number 6. Before we started recording, I was looking at different video essays for Rango. And I kind of do this for like every other movie we watch. And when I looked up Rango video essays, I was expecting like 1 or 2, but actually there were like 15. And I think that was like the most video essays I've ever seen for any movie that we've watched, which I think is insane, even for like the big, popular, pretentious ones. I'm like, and they were good. Like they went in it. It was great, and I think that's amazing. That just shows how good Rango is. You know?
I like. It was just so good. I love the kid. I love the funny. I love the animation. I love just like the bits. Like it would just like there were bits, and it was like it would like have comedic cuts to moments, you know?
Yeah.
The fucking like birds that like sing the songs and narrate it.
Yeah. The mariachi band.
You know what? This movie gets 5 stars.
5 out of 5.
Favorite character was the little kid.
High 5.
High 5.
My favorite character was Rattlesnake Jake.
I like Beans and
But
Rango,
also,
of course.
but also the big frog with the big tits.
Wait, actually, the big frog with their big tits. I'm glad you cleared up the armadillo thing and the Clint Eastwood thing, because that was the only thing that like confused me. I want to say that like I feel like a really main obvious point of the movie was like the mayor's bad because he wants to like go into the future, but the town wants to like stay in the past, and I felt like that was a weird lesson because the mayor was a bad person because of like he deprived the town from water for his own personal benefit. But they were really hitting on like the he wants to modernize and the town wants to stay how it was. But like that's not necessarily bad if the town wants a golf course and you know, like gunslingers are
Well,
like
golf courses are really bad.
golf courses are bad. You get what I'm saying though. Like yes, golf courses specifically are bad.
Like, he just wanted golf courses and to strip everyone from their land.
Yeah, like that's horrible. But they were just really hitting on the fact that like he wants to be modern, but they didn't want to be modern, and I thought that that was like just slightly weird because it's like the I don't know what I'm saying. That was a thought I had. I lost it.
Interesting.
5 stars.
5 stars. My favorite characters, Rattlesnake Jake and the frog with the big tits at the end.
Why did Beans?
She's only in one shot, but she has huge fucking tits, and I love her.
Why did Beans like go out sometimes?
What?
Why did Beans like stop working sometimes?
Oh, it was like a survival instinct.
But did they ever like elaborate on
Yeah.
it? Oh.
They said it was like a survival instinct, and it was like just like fight or flight.
Yeah,
You know?
it just happened at such random moments, and then
Right.
and then he like kissed her, and then it was like, ooh, she was faking it, and she was aware he was kissing her. I don't know. I don't have a point. I'm just saying things I noticed. Okay, goodbye.
Where are you going?
Outro time. Thank you for listening.
Going outside?
Join us for the last week of Westerns, and then next month we're watching Pirates.
No, we have 2 more weeks of westerns.
Fuck.